the YouTube live joint.
Yeah.
I see that. Okay.
And it's also recording. What are we waiting?
Master Elements Podcast. We live.
I don't think we live yet.
Okay. Not yet, but yeah, we looking good.
Yes, sir. Shout out to homie Sincere.
Right. I got my books too.
Straight Poison in the building. Melanin Audacity. We on.
I know Sincere gonna be feeling some kind of way. Okay, I don't know if y'all are able to see the chat.
Nah.
Watch now. Let's see. I'm trying to see what I'm doing because I don't know. I'm waiting for the stream to set up.
Okay.
It's going to take a minute, but just in case we are live, give us a few minutes. I'm trying to make sure that we are actually live in YouTube. So I'm waiting for that video to pop up over there. And then I have to kind of flip back and forth between the Zoom meeting and the YouTube thing. So it is connecting.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Because this works.
Oh, this way, so I don't feel like I have to stay in that corner.
Oh, can you? Oh, my mother said, "Have y'all started?" Yes,
I can't see it.
Waiting
well, it seems like it's frozen.
The stream to start.
Cool.
Y'all can see me, right? No.
Yeah, I see y'all. I don't see you moving though. It seemed like you're a little frozen on your end.
Yeah, I'm frozen.
But I see your face.
I don't know if it's moving again. Well, at least if y'all can hear me, that's good. That's good for right now. We about to set it back up.
Yeah, we hear you.
So I see it on Zoom though.
What you got on 4K or you got it on?
But I don't see it in the YouTube thing.
Because I just see recording live on YouTube.
Yeah. And then I see.
Yo, Ron, where y'all at? Y'all went black over there.
Yeah, we adjusting this camera. I think my camera cut off. No, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the wire.
It didn't ask me for a time.
Nah.
That works then. Yeah, USB-C would be better anyway.
I did a refresh on my screen on YouTube to see what the hell.
Connecting. Oh, here we go. That looks nice.
You got it?
Y'all up? I don't see y'all on my
screen. I'm up on my screen. I'm just
okay.
I don't see you, Ron. You're
Nah, we adjusting the camera.
Oh, okay. It took a while before as well to go live here, but if I go to YouTube, I see the video there.
Yeah.
But it's started streaming 4 minutes ago. So I guess we live. So sorry. This is our first time trying to go live. And the only way to do it is to actually go in and do it. So let's just start the show and we'll find out in the end. So welcome everybody back to the 8th episode of the Master Elements Podcast. And we have an exciting show tonight. We have a special guest, Mr. Ron Fonzarelli, joining us tonight.
Poison.
Shalom, shalom.
Yes, DJ RP Beats and I
What's
are
up,
here
y'all?
tonight. Sincere Love to God is not joining tonight. He has some business to take care of. So it's just DJ RP Beats and myself and our special guest. And tonight's show, we're going to attempt to unpack the Nick Cannon controversy from the Professor Griff video, where he, I'm sure there's no one, unless you live under a rock, that has not heard about the controversy around Nick Cannon and this Professor Griff, former Public Enemy band member, where he said some things that upset the Jewish community and ultimately got him fired. And then he apologized for using those words. I think that he could have done it a little more respectfully, I guess. And that's what they were upset about. And then they felt that it was not true. So we have Ron Fonzarelli, who is going to be for tonight our expert, subject matter expert on the, what is it? Is it Black Hebrew Israelite or just Black Israelite?
No, actually, it's not Black Hebrew Israelites. We are the actual biblical Israelites. That is our heritage prior to slavery and the transatlantic slave
Well,
trade.
I just want to know what you guys are called.
Yeah, that's what we call ourselves. We're just the Hebrews. We're the Hebrew Israelites.
Oh, right.
Hebrew
are the Hebrew
Israelites.
Israelites.
That we are the Hebrew Israelites, and he's going to get into giving us some background, or me, because I am admitting that I haven't a clue about this part of the Black experience or our Black existence,
history,
right? In this format. So we're gonna start. Oh, before we get into business, I'm so anxious to get started. You can catch me at Melanin Audacity across all social media platforms at Melanin Audacity, and Sincere Love the God across all social media platforms, and as well with Ron, DJ RP Beats. Same thing.
Yes.
I am available and open for comments. I see that I have a comment there. So if you guys, you're welcome to live chat with us. For those of you who are able and have joined into this live, provided it's actually up and showing. Let me just shoot. Can you see the video, the live video? Just 1 second, and then we'll get right started. Because I can't even tell if we're actually live or not. I have one link that shows us there, and since this is my first time, I'm not sure if it just shows it created its own thumbnail, if you will, and it stopped. And I guess so. I'm not sure how this actually works, how you guys are actually seeing this. But then I have a dashboard that is still trying to connect to the software, so I'm not really sure what's happening. In any event, if this is not live, we're also recording it, and then we'll just post it like we usually do until I figure out how this actually works. So let's start with the Professor Griff and Nick Cannon interview. So I wanted to know exactly what it was that upset the Jewish community, and what ultimately got Nick Cannon fired. And I found, I did some research because I watched the video, but I wasn't like I wrote down notes word for word, so I couldn't remember exactly. So of course there was a article that said this is why the Jewish people are upset with Nick Cannon. And there were only 3 things that I found in this article, and then we can go into whatever parts you want to. He said that Black people were true Hebrews. That was the first one. And he implied that Jewish people wanted to be like us, and that they have usurped, which means to take the position of power or importance illegally or by force. So this is the word the article used, usurped or usurped. USURPED. I had not heard that word. And then the second thing he said, he implied that the Jewish people wanted to be like us. That was the second one. The third one was that people who lacked sufficient melanin are a little less and have a deficiency that historically forced them to act in a savage way out of fear and commit acts of violence to survive. They had to be savages to survive, is what Nick Cannon said. So, and that he was referring to Jewish white people or Europeans. So, which one you want to start with, Ron? What about one of those three reasons that got Nick Cannon fired do you want to back up for our viewers tonight? And again, thank you for being a special guest and taking your time and joining us. We cannot see you. I don't know if you know that your camera's off.
We're working on it.
Okay.
But y'all can, as long as y'all can hear me, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay. I got plenty of material you can read along with.
Yeah. So let's take the first one then. That Black people are the true Hebrews. Can you give us some background on that statement and why he believes that? He and Professor Griff believe that?
Okay. First of all, I would like for anybody in the audience to grab a paper and pen. That way, anything that I say, you guys can reference and check and fact check for yourself. Because we believe at first that, you know, everything is done in truth and in decency.
Right.
There's in the Bible that we must prove all things. So
all
these
things.
are not just things that we're just saying. We need to be able to prove these things as well.
Right.
So the first statement where he said about us as African Americans, Negroes, whatever you want to call us, we're so-called today, we don't go by our original languages. First of all, we know we are the only people who can attest to the transatlantic slave trade. So that key is right there in itself, letting us know who is a separate people, because this is one atrocity that happened to our people that no other culture can identify with, not in the way that it happened. So if we're going to talk about Semitic people, we have to remember Semitic people, the word Semitic starts from the descendants of Noah, right? Noah had three different sons. He had one named Ham. These are the Africans, the Libyans, the Canaanites, so on and so forth. He had Japhet, where the Europeans, the Asians, the Turks, they came from. And then we have Shem. This is where your Native Americans come from, your African Americans, your Arab, modern day Arab, not the modern day Arab, the ancient Arabs come from. And these were people who spoke Shemitic languages. Now, if you take a look right now and you look at Wikipedia, if you can, pull up on Wikipedia, type in Shemitic languages. And then once we get there, we can read along together. Because like I said, we need to prove all things.
So yes. Did you want me to, because I can share the screen and pull that up?
Yes. Share the screen. Yes. Share the screen so they can read along.
Yeah.
So give me a second.
All right.
Well, you can continue talking while I work to.
Okay. Let's pull it up. Semitic. So we're going to type in Google. We're going to type in Semitic. As Semitic.
Okay.
And then inside the definition, what they do is this is what we call etymology. This is the study of languages and words and how they're used. Same way like when we were younger, your mother would tell you a word, and she'll tell you the definition and tell you how it's used. So this is what we learned, and we taught the Europeans how this
Oh,
is
we
how
live.
languages
My
work.
mom said, I don't mean to cut you off, but we are live. My mother said she
All
was.
right, good.
Okay,
And
Yeah,
I
good,
because I
good,
see
was
good.
worried about that.
we see you
Uh,
guys.
yeah, I can
Okay.
see you guys now. So you want me to pull up the Semitic people from Wikipedia,
Yeah, in
or just
Wikipedia, go to the
Semitic?
dictionary. Yeah, in the dictionary, pull up Wikipedia. Pull up Wikipedia and pull up the word Semitic.
I did. I have it.
And then,
Let me bring you guys. Let me
okay,
share the
once we're
screen.
there, then I can break it down to you guys,
Mhm.
because that's what the etymology is for. So when we learn, or when we reading ancient history or so on and so forth, we need to look into the words to see what words were in use, because we have to remember the Semitic people, these people were in captivities.
Right.
We can attest to that we were in captivity. This is why Black people or African American, quote unquote, today speak in slang, because we were in slavery. So we had to code our language so other nations wouldn't get onto the certain things that we needed to take care of, or business, or how we can maintain ourselves.
Okay, so I have it up. Can you guys see it?
Okay.
I see it. Mm-hmm.
Now
So
go to Semitic religions or Semitic peoples.
which
Matter of
one you
fact, go
want? I
back to
can
the
go.
top real quick. Let's start right there. You see where it says most commonly refers to Semitic languages. So most people, they talk about the term Semites, but there are Semitic languages that go along with these people because they lived all in the area. So these people would speak one dialect language. Like in the Bible, it says, in the beginning, every man spoke one tongue, which was the Hebrew. That is the original language of the Semitic people. So now when you go down to, let me see, go down
Semitic
to
people.
Semitic people, you can see
Mm-hmm.
it's a culture, it is a racial group. So when they say, oh, Judaism is not a race, it's a religion, it's not. It's actual traced back to our ethnicity and our identity, which
Right.
can't apply to everybody else. You see what I'm saying? But
Okay.
this is just
Um.
surface.
Okay. Well, let me go here with it. So we agree that it's a racial and ethnic term that is specific to a group of people,
Of
and they
people.
are the Canaanites. Did you say?
No,
Um,
the Israelites. The
the
Semitic people
Arabs.
are Israelites.
Okay. Okay.
That would be what you would know today as your African Americans, your Native Americans, the Mexicans, Panamanians, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians, West Pacific Islanders. Those will be listed as the Shemitic people, or the line of Shem.
Right.
So
That
is
bloodline.
Semitic language the same as Arabic language?
Arabic language is actually an offshoot of the Semitic language in Hebrew, because if you look at certain words in the Arabic and the Hebrew, and the Arabic has Hebrew roots, so the words originate in the Hebrew and it's added on to create that second language, and that was brought on to us by the Persian Mede captivity.
Okay. So let's see what it's saying here. I see the Shem that you're talking about, Hebrew, one of three sons of Noah in the book of Genesis.
The book of Genesis, and this is a
Yeah.
part of what they try to do to our people, and try to tell us that this book has nothing to do with us.
Which book?
The Bible.
Okay.
The actual King James version of the Bible.
Okay.
And if you look at inside, what they do also talk about the diaspora. Oh, I got somebody, he's gonna join with me.
Okay.
My brother, fellow Israelite. So
Okay.
what these people do, they talk about a time in the Bible, or the time in history, where they call it diaspora. And this is basically when most of the Jews started going into dispersion, or were taken into other nations in captivity.
So, did that happen after? So this is where I guess I'm a little confused. So, and where some of my research today brought me to with regard to the Semite, or trying to understand what that is. And it says, and this is from the SPL Center .org. The Hebrew Israelite movement is rooted in Black Judaism, a belief system birthed in the late 1800s by Black Christians from the South's Pentecostal holiness movement. They claim to have received a revelation that America's recently emancipated slaves were God's chosen people, the true Hebrews. Have you heard that before?
Yes, this is exactly what the Bible says. Yeah.
Okay. It's not the Bible. It's in a article, if you will.
Yes, right, but that
the
article is referring to something that happened that's pre-told in the Bible.
Okay.
That was going to happen to a specific group of people.
Okay. So it goes on to say that according to Black Judaism, the Black Judaism doctrine, when the kingdom of Israel was destroyed, the Israelites were first scattered across the African continent and then selectively targeted by enemy African tribes who captured and sold them to European slave traders for bondage in the New World.
Yep. That's actually in Joel 3 and 5 in the Bible. It's actually written in Joel 3 and 5 in the Bible. If you can pull that up, it'll tell you exactly the same story, what happened, what you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
This is also something that's referred to in history as the not the slave, it's the Saharan slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade. If you ever heard that, or you can pull that up in your research at one time.
Yeah.
This is a reference. This is how we've learned through history. Our people have been through multiple captivities under different nations. And these nations have put us into legal bondage and also spiritual bondage and also financial bondage. And when they do these things, we have to adopt the customs of these people in order to be accepted, in order to make a way, in order to. It's kind of like
you guys are breaking up. The gentleman who was just speaking. What's your name, sir?
I'm Frost.
Who?
Frost. F-R-O-S-T. Yes.
Okay, how you doing? So I couldn't hear you. If you want to repeat that.
Okay, I'm adjusting the audio. I'm turning it down some. Okay.
There you go.
Can
you
hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's something called the sub-Saharan slave trade, and during these times, there's many slave trades. And when we went into these different nations in captivity, we were subjugated to these nations' laws, rules, religions, pastimes, and in turn, we adopted these people's cultures, which were not actually ours.
And
we assimilated.
Yeah, we assimilated.
Right. But before our culture into but before we get into that, let me read this one other part that I found fascinating about before that even occurred, or how. And I think that it's important for us to understand also how. So this article goes on to say that slave traders travel for months and days to get to specific pickup points. They knew what people they were taking specifically, the lost tribes of Israel. It was a common myth that slaves were randomly shackled up and taken into slavery. So that kind of makes sense, right? I think that's an important point to understand, that according to this information in historical books and information, that they selected these specific people who, what you're saying, are the Israelites or the Semitic people,
Yep.
specifically to make slaves of them.
What they did,
because of that.
It was purposely done because they already knew that we were the children of Israel. If you go to if you pull it up on Joel 3 in the King James Version, you go to Joel 3 and 3, and then we can read down from 3 to 6. Joel 3.
Chapter 3, verse 6.
No, Joel 3.
And it has to be
King, yeah, it has to be King James, because the anything other than the King James Version was compromised after.
Okay, so this is it. This is the King James Version of
Right.
Joel
So
3.
we're gonna go to Joel 3.
Mm-hmm.
Go down to 3. You see where they have cast lots, like just what you were saying, the
Right.
sub-Saharan straight trade when they took the Israelites. This is our history.
And they have.
Can you press Control minus on your keyboard so that
Yeah,
you
so we
can
can
small
see,
the
yeah.
screen up a little bit? And is it possible that you could center it so that the viewers can read this as well?
Yeah.
I think no, because I don't know how to do all that. So
Okay,
either
don't
they
worry
gonna
about it,
have
don't worry about
to
it.
pull up their own Bible, and we can just give them the reference and have them look at it, and you can speak to it because we are
that's
on
what
a
it is.
time
Seeing,
slot.
seeing is
So,
believing. So like you
Yeah.
said, we can go into it. It says, yea, what do you have to do with me, O Teri and Sidon? Those are African Hamite kingdoms and the coast of Palestine. Will you recompense me a recompense? Meaning, will you pay me back? And if you're going to pay me back, then you're going to pay me back swiftly and speedily, and I will return your recompense, your payment back upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried them into your temples, my goodly and pleasant things. He's talking about the children of Israel, because the children of Israel are also referenced as God's silver and his gold. And then just to be sure of if that's what we're talking about, we go to the next verse. Yet the children also of Judah, see, the Jews, quote unquote, and the children of Jerusalem, the other tribes, the northern tribes, he have sold unto the Grecians, Caucasians. See, but go ahead.
oh no, what happened?
We lost him?
I think so. We can't hear you guys at all.
Not at all.
Oh, there you go.
Now.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, well, the things that we're referencing from the Bible, these are prophecies. Prophecies are basically when someone tells you something that's going to happen before it happens, but not just a little bit before it happens, way before it happens. And then it's not just a one-time thing, because your grandmother could tell you you're going to find $20 on the street, and then you walk by and you find $20 on the street. But if she tells you again something else, then the second time or the third time she tells you something and it happens, it's more valid. The Bible says out of the mouth of two or more is every word established. So basically, these prophecies that are happening from the prophets, they're telling us things that are supposed to happen in the future, which is supposedly the end times, the times we live in today, to show who we are, because it is also a prophecy that we would forget because of the captivity.
Right.
Now, the same way a murderer can kill somebody and clean up the murder scene, but somehow a forensic scientist or an officer, a detective comes on the scene and it's
your audio is not coming through clear. I don't know if there's a mic between you guys that you're sharing.
No, this is can you hear?
Yeah, we hear
I
you
can
now.
hear you now.
We hear you now, but it goes low.
It goes low, yeah, and then we can't.
Oh, it might be Zoom is adjusting the volume because I might be a little too loud.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll try.
It's not loud at all.
No, it's that Zoom has an
ear.
auto adjust for the volume. So if my volume reaches a certain point, it adjusts. Therefore, I have to keep mindful of my own tone. Sorry.
So let me back up a little bit so that this platform, we have to give the condensed version because
Okay,
we don't have a whole lot of time here.
Mhm.
And I just wanted you to explain in a summary, because we have to start doing our own research. And here we can tell them where to go to back up what your summary about why the Black man is also a Semite, right?
Not also,
And
Right.
he is the Semite.
Right,
Not
the
also,
original.
is
The
the
original.
No, no, no.
okay,
There is, I mean, you can only have one of one. You know what I'm saying? There's only 12 tribes in Israel. Everybody else is not in there as far as the Most High is concerned. He's not dealing with the other nations at all. So
Right.
there's no other, you know, that's why they are the ones who's trying to graft onto the scripture.
right. And the reason why I'm bringing that up was because when I did my research trying to understand this, so for me, the source is very important. And I do understand that the articles or the information that I find online may be geared towards the white supremacist system and making sure that I stay aligned with my research and understanding with that white supremacist system. And what I'm saying is that we're asking the viewers to go and do their research to understand the Semitic people, what this is all about, and try to get some understanding. They're going to find the same thing I found. And so I'm reading you what I found, which is what they will find. And it says that the term came to include Arabs, Akkadians, Canaanites, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, Hebrews, and some Ethiopians and Armenian tribes.
Yes.
So is that also true?
Yes, this is true. These people are Shemites as well, but the Bible is speaking directly to a specific
group
lineage
of-
and a
yeah.
specific family line of Shem.
Of the Semite.
When you go into the Revelations, which is supposedly the revealing of these secrets, there's 12 gates on the kingdom of heaven, and not every single tribe of Shem is allowed to enter into the kingdom. Only 12 tribes, and there's 12 gates, and there's on every one of those gates there's a name that's allotted to the entry of that family.
Right.
So there's a gate for Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Naphtali,
So on and so forth.
you know what I'm saying, so on and so
Mhm.
forth. So
But do those people represent other ethnicities that are made by God as well? Is that one per ethnicity? I'm not understanding that God would say there say 15 ethnicities, because I don't know how many there are,
there's
but only
18
12.
nations on the face of the planet, 18 according to the Bible.
Okay, and so God is going to say that he's only going to accept 12?
There's an agreement in the Bible that states what goes around comes around. It doesn't say it in those words verbatim, but it says what you reap is what you sow. So there's an agreement upon the earth that the Most High God has made with every nation. This is not something that's only specific to the Hebrews. This is something for every nation. So every nation has taken their reward, what we would say their reward in history already. Whereas the Shemite that's referred to inside the Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, they have not gotten their reward thus far. And because the agreement that the Most High God made with us, he left clues to show who we are, what our punishments were, just like any father. He told Moses to tell his people these commandments. If we followed them, we will be blessed. If we broke them, we would be cursed. And these curses are the identifier of who the Jews, who the Israelites are today. Now, if we look at history, some of these identifiers are things that most Blacks and Hispanic people and Native American people know today, but they can't connect the dots because they don't have certain information that was only allotted to select few. Some of that information will be the slave trade. If we know about the Taino Indian slave trade, we know about how the French enslaved the Haitians, we know about the Americans and the Spaniards taking the Indians over to Spain, which is how we got Puerto Ricans that learned Spanish and stuff like that. There's very, very big clues in the Bible. Just like I was saying, a murder may happen and someone has to have forensic education to pinpoint who did the crime. The Bible establishes who the crime was committed against and what the punishment for that crime was. It says, if you take a man into captivity, you shall go into captivity. We all know about the diaspora and the slave trades. We're still found in the nation where we were allotted to be captives. And this is basically the point of, I got you, I caught you red-handed. Like when we start reading this book, understanding that the people of this book that they talk about that are the Jews, they're not the people who masquerade themselves as the Jews today. These people are referred to in the Bible in Revelations as the synagogue of Satan.
Are Jews or Ashkenazi Jews, and they still identified by these names today. So it's not that we're making these things up or Nick Cannon just saying these things just to sound cool. He's doing the research. He's doing some of the things. There's books that prove exactly.
Let's talk about some of those books. Okay. So and while you guys get the books together, here's another area that I am not educated on. So the Jews study the Torah and the Muslims study the Quran. Is that how it goes? And what makes them dissimilar? What is different about them?
Well, there's really okay, there's a difference between race and go ahead.
Okay. The difference between the Torah and the Quran is that they're written based on the what do you call it? The inheritance that you're supposed to get. Every father leaves their children an inheritance. When Abraham died, he was told, well, before he died, he was told that his children, his seed, would be a great nation. And these nations we know of are the ones that we know of as the Arab nations. This is where we get the Quran, and they know who they are. They come from the seed line of
Abraham,
Ishmael, which is a son of Abraham.
But he's not chosen.
He wasn't the chosen seed. It's just like a kingdom. If you have a king and he has a child outside of the marriage, that child does not inherit the kingdom. So this is the conundrum that we're having between the Torah and the Bible in some cases when people can't understand who the chosen people are. These people that come from Abraham are supposed to be a great nation no matter what. But the thing is, there's an inheritance that's allotted specifically for each one of these children. Ishmael has his own inheritance, which is stated in the Quran that Ishmael has his inheritance. And it also states in the second Surah 123, I believe, second 122, I believe, that the children of Israel have a specific blessing that's endowed upon them. And this is something that's not hidden in the Quran. This is something that's in that's the second surah. You know what I'm saying? And being that this information isn't hidden, it's hard for our people to walk around not knowing this stuff, but just easy for us to just I guess brush it off because we can't connect the dots as of yet. Now that we're having all of this information, the internet is a big thing. When you go into Deuteronomy, it tells you specifically what's going to happen to the children of Israel. Just like I can hold this dollar bill. Hold on, let me get right.
But before you go off of that, what's the difference in the Torah?
Let me hit that. All right, the difference in the Torah is I'm
sorry. Before you get started, Sincere, your mic is off. So
your mic.
Sincere decided to join us. It looks like you're driving.
Peace. I just wanted to pop in and say peace real quick, man. I'm about to get back on the road.
Peace.
I see. Okay, but we're live, so you can watch it on the road.
We live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the GPS and all that, so I ain't gonna be able to.
Okay, well.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see you next week. I got a feeling that we'll have another part to this because of the time constraint, but we're now comparing the Bible to the Quran and the Torah. Like, what are the differences? That's what we're talking about right now. So Ron is going to get into the difference, what makes the Torah different. All right, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Fine. What the difference is between the Quran and the Torah is that the Torah is older than the Quran. Number one, because it's the word Torah. I mean, the word Quran itself means recitation. So what they were reciting was what's in the Bible, and the proof is, look, in the Torah. I mean, in the Quran itself, I'm reading. This is the cow, the heifer, in the surah. It says Surah 83. And remember when we took a promise from the children of Yaqub, which is Jacob, do not worship anyone besides Allah, and be kind parents and do good to the kindred of the orphans, which we were the orphans because we were taken and cut off from our history and we are brought into these other lands. So the people who were in Arabia were supposed to look after the children of Israel because they came through the mist with Moses. So he had a covenant also with their fathers, which they forsook.
Quran, which are the Ishmaelites, they were also with us in captivity in Egypt. They left Egypt with Moses. The word, when you go into the Hebrew, when Moses says there was a mixed multitude when he spoke the law to the people, if you go and look up that word in the Hebrew, the word is Arib, which is mixed multitude, meaning the mixed people. So the people of the Arabs that we know of Arab, if you go into their DNA, they have a mixture of a bunch of different things that were around this area. So these things are, like I said, they're identifiers of who's who in the Bible. The Bible exactly pinpoints. It's like slang. We speak in slang. So back then, our people in captivity, we spoke in slang so that our captors couldn't understand what we were saying. The thing is, the language got lost once you separate the mother from the child and the father from the house.
And just like I felt that our African heritage has been lost in translation because of the institution of slavery. We don't have any of the. That's right. They did that intentionally. So I did understand that.
Part of it is because they've not, when I say the word they, I mean the powers that be as of right now, which are the Caucasian rulers. They have taught us. They have taught us that we and the Africans are the same people because our skin color is the same. But when you go into the Bible, there's a very basic distinction, which is your father is one person. I can't be from your father. You know what I'm saying? So Ham is one seed line. Shem is a separate seed line. What they've taught us is that we are Africans. No, we lived in Africa with the Hamites or the Canaanites, which were the Africans. Our men, our families married into those families. Just like you see interracial marriages and dating today, we lived in the land of Egypt. So if Africans are in the land of Egypt, who do you think we may assimilate with? These are things that are written down in the Bible as well, in Genesis.
And it's also in the book of Exodus 11:7, where it says that God himself put a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. So, and you can find that even in our genetic DNA markers. The scientists have just proven that Africans, they have the E1B1, E1B1A. We have the E1B1A haplotype J1, which is actually the Cohen priesthood lineage in our genetics. And Africans have the E1B1B, which
belongs to
Cohen.
who?
They belong to Ham, the other part of the other nations. We actually have the Cohen gene.
Oh, okay. So based on that DNA profile, within our African heritage, that we believe that we're all from Africa, which we are. However, within or being in Africa, we were separated. I'm a little lost.
We're separated by
that.
Cultural differences. The same way Japan, China, Korea, they all look alike, but they all have distinct cultures. This is the same thing that we have as well. But we've been taught by European mindset that If it looks the
Outside
same, it is the
the
same.
Right.
Right, and that's another thing that I want to address also with regard to ethnicity or classification between Native Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, Black Africans that are here. That there's a distinct difference between us, but we still fall under the umbrella of being African American. Because
no, we're Israelites. We are actually the Israelites.
okay, so unless we do a DNA to determine that which ones of us, because there has been a lot of mixing and things since then, to how are we determining which ones of us are the Israelites? Just because I study it, that's not going to make me an Israelite. Now that you're saying there's a DNA profile that can prove or disprove that am also an Israelite. Is that what you're saying?
I'm gonna find this. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, my spirit bear witness with the spirit that we are Israelites, or something like that. It's basically establishing that when you go and look into your history, there's going to be identifying history markers that the Bible states are prophetic, meaning, hey, 2,000 years ago, someone said this is going to happen, and it just so happened that in historical identification marker, these things happen to a people that you descend from. So therefore, this is how we know who is who. The Native American Indian today, I can't walk up to any Native American and say, okay, I know this person is Native American, but if his spirit, meaning his mental state, understands the thing that he went through or his family went through, and it's heartfelt to a point where he understands that I'm these people, this is how we know whose spirit is whose. Because there's many people in the Bible that it says, not all of Israel is of Israel. Meaning you might have a black mother or a black father, but your mental state is not aligned. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
And okay, so my mental state, because I have not obtained the knowledge, or is this particular knowledge innate in me because I am an Israelite, and it's automatically, I know it without even reading the book. I could tell you. No, recite all.
No, it's not something.
It's not like that. No,
it's not something that just turns on automatically. It's something that
to the history and your lineage and your DNA, your patrial DNA and your lineage, your fathers and their fathers' fathers.
Right, and I'm not disputing that. I'm just trying to get some clarifying understanding for myself. So, and I'm listening. However, I do know that according to the history books and the research I was able to do, was that I do understand that the Europeans took Africans from various tribes, and they didn't speak the same languages, and brought them over. This was initially before today, when I found this one little blurb that says they took specific African tribe members because they knew that these were Israelites or Semitic people, and they brought us here. So if that is true, once they brought us here, along with, so is it that you're saying, or your belief is that only the Israelites were brought to America and enslaved? Because then once, if there was a combination of Israelites and non-Israelites, they have intertwined and mixed. So does that make every person of color an Israelite?
No, the Israelites only pertain to the 12 sons of Jacob, which would be what we would call today the African Americans, the Chileans, the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, the Haitians, the Cubans, the Panamanians, the Mexicans. These are the same people. These are all the same people. The Native Indians, the Aboriginals.
The way we can attest to who these people are is based on the original people. They went into the captivities. They worked in the tobacco fields. They worked in the sugarcane fields. They worked in the cotton fields. These are people that were prophesied in the Bible, whether they look like us or not. These people went into the captivity that Moses said, if you follow these rules, you will be blessed. If you don't follow these rules, you will be cursed. In Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, it expressly tells us exactly what the punishment would be. And when we look in our history, it matches identically. You know what I'm saying? So this is how we know that.
This is not the King James version of the Bible. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy is the book of cursings and blessings. So in Deuteronomy 28, it tells you exactly how the Americans got here. I mean, the African Americans got here. It says in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt." Egypt is also synonymous with meaning the house of bondage. House of bondage. Again, so okay, we know Israel, right? And Africa is on the same land. So if they were going to be taken into Israel, right, they could have walked there. But this is a prophetic thing that's going to happen that they're telling you right here. This is why it says you're going to go into Egypt, which means bondage, again with ships this time. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Meaning our homeland, we wasn't going to see our homeland again. We don't know who our homeland is.
No.
We don't know where our homeland is.
We don't. And we know it's in Africa, but not where.
We know, but the mass majority of us don't know. And this is why they try to pull the anti-Semitism, because then they get to deny the claim and nobody ever actually goes into what is a Semite. And this is what the problem is, and why we keep going through historical nonsense all over again.
Right.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And this is Moses talking. So this is 2,000 years before the transatlantic slave trade even happened.
But what does that mean, though?
That means you would go. Okay, the word Egypt in the Bible means the house of bondage. Bondage means in chains and shackles. Like if you go get arrested, they give you the to let you out.
Your mic is going out again. Sorry.
It says that we're going to go into the house of bondage, which means slavery. And
the Israelites, the Semitic people.
Yes, they were going to the house of bondage, but on ships. So when we look at actual history and we look at how the Ashkenazi and the Sephardic Jew went into the land of Germany during 40s, it wasn't on ship. It was on trains, on buses, on wheeled mobiles. The thing is, the Bible, it doesn't match the prophecy, and the Bible explicitly says exactly how these people would go into bondage. It just so happens, I didn't write this, but it just so happens that my history was attached to that same slavery, that same line that Moses said, if you broke these rules. The problem is our people have never been taught exactly what these rules are.
Right.
So we can never actually attain the blessing that the Most High God has allotted for us until we educate ourselves. The Bible says that we shall be destroyed for a lack of knowledge, meaning if we don't go through this burden of trying to educate ourselves on who we were back then we will never know where we're going now. They use these proverbs against us all the time. If you don't know where you came from, you never know where you're going. And guess what? Most of our people don't know our history. Most of our people don't know our history.
Yeah, I agree, and I am one of those. I don't know the history of the people. I'm trying to get my life together to figure out the history of my family.
Right, and that's what it means. Like,
but that is only going to go back as far as I have names for, and that they have kept records for us, right? Which we know that they didn't care enough outside of tracking for monetary gain for them to obtain wealth. But other than that, it wasn't like they freed us with a book. Well, this was your great grandmother, this was your mother, and so that we knew where we came from. They made sure that wasn't possible. So it's kind of, I think, hard for those who are like me, who don't understand it and have come to accept the fact that, our history, it seems that it's unattainable to trace back to exactly where we come from. And I think because of it, we have, they got what they wanted, which was to divide and conquer. And those of you who do know and try to teach, it sounds not so far-fetched. It sounds as if, how are we going to be able to prove this? Right. And that's how we need to get the story told in a simplistic kind of way that makes sense to the rest of us, so that we understand and then go back and do our own research to really get some in-depth information. And that's also what I'm trying to do here. I know you guys want to really get into it, and we need to, but we just don't have the time. And maybe we can have you guys come on again at a later date to maybe take one piece at a time, because this is not something we can cover in an hour's time. And I am the type of person, I don't do nothing half-assed. If I want to understand it, I want to understand it from its infancy all the way through adulthood and death, if you will. Right. And we just don't have the time for it all here. So if you want to close this particular part out with just a summary of all of what you said, we are from this region in Africa, or because I found somewhere saying that the Semite definition in Webster says a member of any number of people of ancient southwestern Asia, and that threw me for a whole loop. You understand what I'm saying?
Asia is connected to North East Africa.
Yeah, Southwest. This is why they
Semitic,
call it.
That's why it calls Afro-Asiatic or Asiatic Afro, because we're African continents, and then on top of it is Asia. So this is in the middle. This is where you get Semitic people from. Afro-Asiatic.
Okay, and I did not know that.
For the purpose to confuse our people.
And prior to the Suez Canal being built, it was everybody in the world knew it would be called Northeast Africa. Even it's still, Israel still today sits on the African tectonic plate. It's actually on the African tectonic plate.
But they claim that it is actually a part of the continent of Asia, and I've read that today. So again, like I said,
how
we
could
have, we have to understand
on the tectonic plate? But
we have to understand the people who are providing the information.
Exactly. Now,
I'm sorry about that. To confuse us further, and we as Black people, Africans, and now you're bringing in Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. I'm not even sure if they have consider themselves Semites as well.
Do they have already?
The ones who know. So that's
exactly the same way like us. Some of us don't know, so we still run around, call ourselves Negroes, African Americans, basketball Americans, whatever they want to. America wants to call us today, because before the before 1980 something. There was no term called African American. So before 1984, there was no term of African American. So we call ourselves Negroes. And then before the 1600s,
we was just slaves.
The Spanish called Black people Negroes. Before the 1600s, what did we call ourselves? Yashra'Allah, Israel. We are Israel.
That is interesting. And you know, this hour went by really quick.
It does. It's just
so RP, what were you saying?
I was saying we got to do a part 2.
Well, yeah, we definitely have to do a part 2. And
would you mind if I say a closing statement real quick?
Sure.
I would like our people to recognize that there's spells going on. The first thing that you learn when you go to school, you learn your ABCs and you learn spells, like how to speak and spell, but they don't ever teach you that these spells are used against you. Based on the vocabulary and your vernacular skills, you can be at a very big disadvantage. A lot of people can open up these prophetic books and not understand one word out of a sentence and lose the whole context and the whole meaning of what these books are saying to you. So I would like our people to really understand what spirit is. Spirit is something that happens in your mind. This is your consciousness. They need to understand what soul is. Soul is a portion. It's hard to translate these words into English language when we don't have actual words for these things, but your soul is something like your culture. You know how they say, you got soul or soul, brother. Like when you drink, you go to the store, you buy wines and spirits, and what do? It alter your mind. The thing is, these spells are all around you, but if you don't understand the slang of the original people who created these words and these languages that we know of today, which is our people through the diaspora, and then also the Phoenicians who took the phonetics of our people and translated them for the nations of people that were around, we will never understand these spells. We need to understand these spells. We celebrate holidays, which are holy days that are not holy to us. They're holy for the adversary. And we need to really realize that our leaders have not taken our best interest in hand, because they have a deal and an agreement with these governments and with these money-making people. You can look up something called the 5013C. If you go to a church that has a 5013C and they don't file for taxes and stuff like that, you need to get out of there, because the information that's going to be trickled down to you is based on how much they can get from your pockets and how much Uncle Sam is going to cut them a tax break.
And it's also run by the Vatican, the same people who crucify Yahweh Shai and put his people in slavery. The same people who say that they're Semite, or they call us being anti-Semitic, or Mr. Cannon for being anti-Semitic, are the same people who owned, financed, and had slaves in the slave market.
Exactly.
You can Google that today. T.I. right now, he's doing something where he's going against Lloyds of London. He said like this: if these people were just to pay back some of the reparations for the atrocities that they caused to our people, right? And it's worth 100 trillion, right? There's only 50 million black people in the United States. Let's say 43 million, right? Okay. So we can get $1 million per each person just from Lloyd's. If we go to another financier, another place right there, we can get the interest based on how much these people have earned from us since then. We can get the back pay on that in tenfold.
Right. So that's a whole nother conversation that we're going to keep pushing with regard to reparations. And if you guys want to join us when we are talking about that, but for purposes of trying to help people understand why Nick Cannon's statements were considered anti-Semitic, and he was ultimately fired for saying or regurgitating what he learned about us as a people. That to me, something is trying to be hidden,
because
right?
It's literally, it's a threat to the system, because everything that America has used and built and they've all benefited from slavery and that.
Yeah, but we kind of already know that now, right?
But the thing is, we
have
knowing and not doing anything about it is agreement.
Know something and not take action.
Right.
That's what the problem is with our people.
And the thing of it is, like, he basically came on, he brought some truth, and then now he turned around and allowed them to have him submit to this rabbi.
Exactly.
And denounce what he originally stood on, which was our truthful history.
If you look at what Colin Kaepernick knelt for back, how many years ago was it when Colin Kaepernick knelt? It was something like 3 or 4 years. If you look at what that turned into, look at the Black Lives Matter, how it shut down almost every country. This is not just Corona. This is biblical prophecies that we don't understand because we don't understand spells. Me and my brother and many countless other Israelites who are waking up, like DJ RP. When I first met RP, he was interested in trying to get the collective of our people on a certain consciousness level. The thing is, part of getting on that consciousness level is we have to have a standard. Like, if you go to a company is going to have guidelines. So when you read a Bible, this is basic instructions before leaving Earth, right?
I agree with that.
This is our dietary law. This is how our culture. This is how our mathematics.
This is how we treat our women. This is how we raise our kids. This is how we do economics.
So that way we can't go astray from each other. I can hold you accountable by the same law that I'm accountable for, instead of like how America does. I'm do one thing and then I punish you for something else. Like the one dude, the Dylan Roof guy, he killed up all those people and he gets a drink of water. Meanwhile, Alton Sherling just selling cigarettes and he has to pay with his life.
Right. And so those things are the direct result because he is a Semite? Is that why you're bringing those things up?
Yes. Matter of fact, go ahead. Talk to. I'm gonna pull it up. I'll pull it up for you because
Yeah,
it's
read that.
actually
Yeah. So unfortunately, it is 10:30.
Oh,
Um, I reserved this. Well, we usually do an hour show on Sundays. And I would like to continue the conversation, but I think the next time we get together, we need to have a more structured program, if you will, where you guys have time to put together in a short format exactly why you believe that we are the Israelites, the original. And so I'm still confused on that. We are the Israelites.
The answer to that is that the prophecies, our history, whether you're Dominican, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Native American, your history aligns exactly what the prophets said in that Bible. The thing is, you've been taught that these are Caucasian faces, or these are Dutch faces, or these are German faces. The thing is, you need to like go back and look at these stories and put your people's skin color, or the people that's been around you in the ghettos. If you live in the Bronx, you're around Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. If you're in Buffalo, you're around many black faces. If you're upstate New York, like you're around Mexicans and stuff like that. There's a lot of our people that just don't understand that these stories are about them.
And then also we go and we inscribe stuff on the walls, but you have to not look in America, because America and Western education is not going to teach you these things. The only part of the reason how I got to understand is because I actually went to Egypt. I actually went to Japan. I actually seen some of these things for myself that made me question the things that I was taught here in America.
I studied.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think also in alignment with what you're saying, like when we look at these so-called color of the people that say they're Jews, you know, growing up, I grew up in Brooklyn, so my grandmother used to take me through the Jewish community there. So we didn't, you know, looking at them, they were all white people. So, you know, based on, you know, just always seeing these so-called white folks that say they're Jews, in your mind, it's hard to connect to that. You know what I'm saying? Seeing your people.
Yeah, that is not going to come through in that way.
And now today they say 90% of modern Jewry is Ashkenazi Jew. Now how can that be?
Well, this has been a very interesting conversation, and you know, again, there's no way to teach it in an hour, right?
I just want to touch on what RP just said. He said that the Jews that are not. So in the Bible, it says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee. The thee that he's talking to is the actual Israelites. There's a people who have done us thievery, which is a stealing of our own identity, because they come from the same line, but they're through marriage. They're not supposed to be the inheritors. And that's what the problem is. They have inherited something that they know is a lie, and they are afraid to have to give it back.
Right.
So they'll kill, steal, rob, and do all of that things to make sure that they don't have to get back what they stole. The thing is, you can prove it, and this is a court. The whole Bible, remember, this is a judgment thing. This is a court case right here. This is the evidence to a court case that we can prove on the world stage through history. It's not about DNA and all this. This is what, did they do this thing? Are they guilty of this? Do we have historical documentation? Yes, yes, yes. Hit the gavel, lock them up.
And they can do DNA if they want to. We've already done.
And so that can be another segment. And again, I want you guys to put something together that you can summarize and walk people through the steps in an hour. And then we can have subsequent discussions.
Let's do part 2.
And probably up to part 25, or however many we need, in an effort to get our people to understand what this is, and what I'm assuming the Nation of Islam believes as well, and that they've been trying to educate and teach, and for whatever reason, you know, we
Very powerful.
have not subscribed to the Nation of Islam and Farrakhan and his teaching, but we have subscribed to the Christianity and its version of who we are. So
Right.
I don't think I've heard that at all in my community or family. The most I've heard is that they describe God as having dark skin and hair of wool. So for me, that's the only identifying words that would lead us to believe that Jesus, if you will, was a black man, right? So outside of that, I have not heard a pastor say, I haven't heard a minister say, and I feel that
if that 5310C, that's why.
But I'm not sure if that's the only reason. I think it could be because they don't know either.
Yeah,
and if you're saying that there's dots to be connected,
the Bible has
maybe
a prophecy
they haven't
that refers
connected them either.
No, the Bible has a prophecy that refers to them, saying that they have like there's a prophecy that speaks directly to pastors, and when pastors hear it, they get mad. I'll make sure.
But they go to white schools to become pastors.
Exactly.
So I don't want to just say that we have our brothers and sisters who are pastors misleading us for money.
But some of them do.
Some of them do. Some of them do. Some of them do.
Your Creflo dollars, your TD Jakes. We done debated with that guy. We done debated with TD Jakes, and he knows, but he. Hey,
and it's unfortunate, and it's why we will never come out of the situation that we're in if we have our own brothers and sisters stabbing us in the back. Whether they preachers, pastors, basketball players, the president, vice president, no, it doesn't matter. If you are still stabbing us in the back, and because you don't know, it's time to start teaching from a way of not having it around, having to join a religion in order to learn it.
But that's the problem, that people think that the Bible is part of a religion. It's not. It's our actual culture that's been hidden from us. And once we start realizing that it has nothing to do with religion. Religion means, if you go and look at the etymology, it means to realign yourself with some force or power. Meaning we're not trying to realign with a certain force. God's son has said that this is in us already. We just need to wake up to understanding that this is talking about us.
Yes. And that I'm interested to. So that's going to be it for us. Thank you for tuning in. I know we dropped Ron and Frost dropped a lot of knowledge, and they want to get it off their chest, and we were kind of jumping all over the place. But I promise you that the next time we bring these gentlemen on, we're going to have a structured educational lesson about the Israelites. So are Israelites Semitic? Are they one and the same, or they okay? So we'll get into explaining and breaking all of that down, and then also we'll provide the list of books that everyone can go and purchase and start reading, so that we all can start sharing the knowledge and getting understanding. Because I think that this is also a part of our getting together and bonding and becoming and supporting one as a people, where we have the Black Lives Matter soldiers out there protesting for the injustice. We still need to also be working on other areas and aspects of life that we have been oppressed for. And having knowledge of self and understanding is the main one, is one of those things. So while they're doing that, we'll have a group of people educating us on who we are and knowledge of self and who we truly are. And then also we have to start working on improving our family units and protecting our men, women, and children, just us in general. So we need to also have a section or a group of people that's starting to do that work as well. It needs to be a whole coalition with their own lines of not attack, but of service, if you will. And then eventually we'll all come together and meet at some point, and then we can move forward like we should. So we can't just stick to just the injustice, because there are many things that are wrong with the way we've been treated in many aspects of life. So
the main thing that King Solomon says for us to do, the most important thing is to keep the commandments of the Most High God. And that's what this is all about. We can change our circumstances as a nation of people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Latin Americans. We can change this if we follow God's commandments. Just one weekend of following the Sabbath day, we could gain the economy. We could shut down the whole economy. The Bible says don't buy or sell on the Sabbath day, which is the seventh day of the week, which is Saturday. If Sunday is the first day, Saturday is the seventh. So if we don't buy or sell, cook, and do all of that stuff the night before, and then we all as a nation of people did that, like he said, there's something like 40 something or 50 something million people. You know what I'm saying? If we did that just one weekend, we could shut down the whole United States. But people don't understand how important this thing is.
That is, there's some information about trying to do that out there, and it's going to take a while for everybody to jump on board. And as you know, there are some people that unfortunately are not even interested in learning about who we are, and so those people will just be lost. Although
two-thirds of Israel will be destroyed.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for being on.
Enjoy this show, and definitely we'll be back. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and select the notification bell. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, DJ RPBs. You guys have some social media you want to shout out or anything, any plugs for yourself?
You can check us out at www.straightpoison.com. That's STR8 POISIN.com. And I want to end by saying all praises to the apostles, Kal Halal Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, and all honor.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you,
and
guys.
So check your emails for the next invite, and we can talk offline about how we can set that up and structure that so that it's concise and people can get what I want to do is just spark them to want to do research and get these books and start again. Right. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. We didn't get into much of the Nick Cannon part because just trying to understand this
that's
took
what
the whole
it is,
hour.
though.
So let's start the next one off and address that.
Yes. Okay. Thank you guys for watching.
If you add me on Facebook, I always every week I post something, some information, something so people can learn and read and do some research.
So they can start there until we get this next episode scheduled and we can go live. So it looks like we have a successful live. This is our first time going live. I think
our first time. Yes.
First time.
Yes.
So thank you guys for watching. Have a good night and have a great week and be safe.
Peace.
Shalom.
Peace.